I was 16 and me and my friends Alka, Levin and Jake, wanted to rent a hotel for the night since it was spring break. We got to the hotel and checked in. It had a really funky smell, but we still stayed there. Once we got to our room it was about 3 p.m. so we decided to go swimming. The pool was downstairs. Departed from the hotel. Once we got to the entrance there was a man at least 6'3" in all black with a hood covering his face facing us. I panicked a little but not out loud. We got into the pool and swam for a few hours until we saw the man again, all black, sitting on a chair by the pool. I cleared my throat. Can I help you, sir?" I asked. No response. I still was a little paranoid. I put my face in the water and at the bottom of the pool was another figure that was all black. I screamed like a little girl and ran for the door. I looked back and saw nothing, not the guy in the chair or the guy under the pool. My friends thought I was just seeing things, but I saw what I saw as clear as water. I didn't feel like swimming anymore, so I decided to get dinner at a nearby restaurant. I got a table for me and my friends to sit at, and there I saw once again the man all in black on the other side of the dining room and was staring at me. I have had enough. I went over there and I lost track of him and he took off. After I decided this trip has gone too far and we should leave tomorrow morning, but my friends didn't like that idea. Once it was 10:30, I and my friends dozed off in the hotel room. I woke up to some noises. I saw a shadow of a figure at the end of my bed. I calmed myself down and told myself that it was my hat that I put there before I went to bed. I went to bed and got woken up again 30 minutes later to more noises. I was getting thirsty, so I reached under the bed and tried to grab my water bottle, but I grabbed something and I was totally shocked by what I grabbed. It was my hat. I was not ever more scared in my life. I couldn't help but to scream at the top of my lungs when I heard a voice next to my ear say, "You're a bitch." I jumped out of bed and realized it was two men in black right there. I tried to fight them, but it was no use once they grabbed me and dragged me out of that room. I tried to scream, but that guy was covering my mouth. I passed out and woken up in a stretcher. It turned out those guys knifed me while I passed out and someone caught them. But the doctor said no one could catch the guys who got me. To this day I always have a nightlight at night, so I'm not scared.
When I was younger I'd go visit my grandparents all the time. They lived in a one-floor house with an unfinished basement. I never liked it down there, it felt small for a big basement. There was a little door down there that was for storage and I always got a horrible feeling when going close to it, and let me add that this was a newer house that was about 6 years. Now during the time I was about 6 or 7, I felt so uncomfortable going down there even when I was with someone I didn't like it. I remember going down there with my grandma to help with something. She had to run upstairs because someone rang the doorbell. She said she would be right back, even though she knew how I felt about being alone down there, but I nodded and said okay. She was gone and I was alone, and I started to get a bad feel in the pit of my stomach. I didn't move and didn't want to, even though the lights were on. Now this is where everything started happening and it still gives me chills. The lights started to flicker and I started to hear noises and what sounded like talking, and it was not coming from upstairs but in the storage room. I heard someone say my name. Here's the part that freaks me out the most. The voice sounded like my grandma. I was confused as hell. How am I hearing her when she is upstairs? I didn't want to move, but me being the curious one I am, I started moving towards the storage room door. The closer I got, worse the bad feeling came. When I got to the door the lights turned off in the basement. I wanted to run upstairs and hide, go home somewhere that wasn't the basement. I heard my name again for the second time, my grandma's voice asking me to open the door to help her, so I did and I regret it. I couldn't see anything, it was pitch black. I couldn't hear anything but faint laughing that felt like forever, but then the laughing stopped and the lights turned back on in the basement, and I felt a little bit better with the lights back on, but the downside, I could see a little in the storage room. I saw a small clown doll in the storage room, and my grandma hates clowns with a passion and wants nothing to do with them, so why is there a clown doll? I have no damn idea. Then the lights turned on in the storage room. I saw red that looked like blood all over the place. I screamed and blacked out, and the next thing I knew I was laying on the couch. My grandma looking at me and asking if I was okay. I have no idea if that was real or a dream, but it sure as hell felt real.
This story happened when I was 12 years old. I'm a female and 25. The story I'm about to tell you, it might not be scary to most, but for me and my parents, it was. I remember it was a Saturday night, around 9 or 10 p.m. during summertime. I owned one dog at the time. His name is Benny. My parents decided that night that they feel like going for a walk around the block, walking Benny, and asked me whether I want to join them. I said no, because I wanted to play PWI on my PC, Perfect World International. My parents were okay with leaving me alone since the walk wouldn't take longer than 30 minutes tops. As my parents would get dressed to leave the house, I logged in PWI and looked around in my guild and global chat to see if anyone was on. For some reason, no one was, so I decided to join my parents. I get dressed, I put Benny on his leash, and we all leave. I'd like to mention that I lived in an apartment building that had 10 floors and we lived on the very first floor. Not sure how to explain, but you have the basement of the building and then the first row of apartments. Basically you enter the building and already are facing apartments. I lived in the very first one. I remember always hating that because whoever would pass by our door, we would hear them, at any time of the day or night. Whoever was lurking at night, we would hear them. It was somewhat eerie to live on floor 0. Anyway, we leave the house, my dad closes the door. We had 3 keyholes and a steel bar that would block the door from the inside. The bar covered half of the door. Precautions were my father's obsession. We exit the building and enjoy our walk. After 15 minutes, we realize the wind has changed from warm summer wind to incoming storm wind. My mom makes the call to go back home as Benny already did all his duties, so we all return. We open the building door, climb the 5 stairs to our door and attempt to open it. And my father does the following: unlocks the first 3 locks, and then attempts to unlock the metal bar that holds the door locked. At that moment, my father pauses, turns around at us with the most serious face I've ever seen on him, and whispers to us to call the police and ring the neighbor's door. My mom goes to the second apartment and the neighbor, who I will call Ted, comes out asking my father what happened. My dad whispered to him, covering the see-through hole of the door, "Someone is in our house, he or they are holding the door. Please stay here with my family and attempt to open it. I will be back." After saying that, I see my father rush, all by himself, around the building, in the dark. I say dark because we didn't have a street light on the side of our apartment facing the block garden. My dad disappears into the darkness. I go outside, too, not following him too much, but only to hear if he's in trouble. He's my dad, don't judge me. As soon as I get out, I hear him shout, "Hey! You! Come back! Who the hell do you think you are?" I called the police. At the same time I hear him shout, I look at Ted, who manages to open the door and enter the house. I go after them and enter my house. It no longer felt like my house. In just 15 minutes while we were walking, the home invaders made a complete mess of our house. All our shelves and wardrobes were pulled out, our clothes scattered all over the house. Benny's dry food was all over the floor, indicating they must have dripped in his bowls, probably not knowing we owned a dog. But what scared me the most was how organized they were. I say because, after seeing the disaster that was left behind, we knew it was impossible for just one person to hold the door, steal and organize what they would want to take with them. I say organized because the thieves put in our living room, all packed and ready, what they wanted, but couldn't steal. On the couch they placed our laptops, one of our TVs, my father's collection of coins, our phones, chargers, wallets, and even my father's camera. He's a photographer and that week he had to attend a wedding. They didn't have enough time to steal all of that, so they just settled with some of my mom's jewelry and some pocket money. After seeing this, in my silly child mind, I rushed to my room to check my piggy bank. I always saved up money from whatever chores I did. It wasn't much, but it was my work and savings, and at that time I thought they stole it too. When I enter my room, I see the metal bars covering my windows are cut open and my window broken. This is how they entered through my room. My room is the only room facing the side of the building and the one most secluded from views. Needless to say, I never felt safe in my own room, in which I had to live for the next 10 years of my life until I moved in with my fiancé. The police arrives, they start throwing white dust. I have no idea what that is. Still, all over our house to find fingerprints. They take pictures, take our statements, analyze my room and window. They were unable to catch the home invaders, but were able to tell us that this invasion was not the only one in our neighborhood. During that month, another 4 houses were broken into, one of them being the home of a cop, not related with the cops at our home. They told us that the invaders analyzed their victims, learned their schedule, even knew where the children's rooms were, as they seemed to be entering the houses through the children's windows. All the families affected by them had children. They did not expect us to be back that soon and panicked, hence one of them was holding the door with his body so that the others could flee. The person after which my dad was shouting was, probably, the one holding the door and escaping last through my broken window. I don't know what could have happened if I didn't change my mind and give up on raiding for gears in PWI. I would probably have come face to face with these invaders. I am happy I didn't, and I hope to God I never ever meet with them.